I used to want to do great things for God. And that was before I found something greater. My mom says she'll always remember that she was sitting in a social studies class when the loudspeaker beeped and crackled and someone announced that President John F. Kennedy had been shot, and all the kids would be going home for the day. I wonder if I'll always remember that my two sons and I had just shared Kung Pao shrimp at P.F. Chang's when I stopped in my tracks on the way out the door. I had to make sure I'd correctly read the words that were scrolling across every television within sight. Apple founder Steve Jobs, dead at 56. Now, I can't explain why, but my hands were shaky and sweaty as I pulled my iPhone out of my pocket to verify. And one of the very first things I saw was a statement from President Obama. He said that Steve Jobs was among the greatest of American innovators, and that he transformed our lives, redefined entire industries, and achieved one of the rarest feats in human history. He changed the way each of us sees the world. Then I looked at my Twitter timeline to see what the rest of the world was saying about Jobs. Everybody seemed to be weighing in. The outpouring was actually overwhelming. One tweet said, "Rest in peace, Steve Jobs. You led the world into the 21st century." Another said, "Rest in peace, Steve Jobs. You improved life as we know it." And still another tweet said, "Steve Jobs, on behalf of every dreamer sitting in his or her garage who is crazy enough to try to change the world, you will be missed." I suddenly felt the urge to tweet my own thoughts about his passing, but it felt kind of melodramatic for me to share some kind of deep thought about a person I'd never even met. But still, he was the greatest business leader of my lifetime, so I fired off my own 3-word tweet, and it just said, "What a life." My next thoughts made my stomach hurt, or it might have been the Kung Pao shrimp. I'm not sure, but either way, I got downright introspective because I was wrestling with the tension. Steve Jobs was a great man. He changed the world through technology. I'm a pastor. I have a mission to change the world through the gospel. But am I really achieving that mission? I'm doing well by some standards, I guess. I love Jesus. I have integrity. I love my family. But still, I'm not redefining an industry. I'm not accomplishing one of the greatest feats in human history. So what am I really doing that matters and that will matter, that'll set my life apart? In short, I guess you could say I was processing the nauseating feeling that when I stack it all up, I don't feel like I'm anything close to being the great man of God I want to be. Some days, actually, I feel like I sort of suck as a Christian. I didn't tweet any of that, but I couldn't stop thinking it. I'm guessing you've had some thoughts like that too. I'm not saying you want to be the next Steve Jobs or build your own technology empire, but I think we all have these honest moments when we're gripped by a desire to feel that what we're doing matters more, that who we are matters more. And a few hours later, after I tucked my boys into bed and prayed for them, I sat on my bed and opened my MacBook. And for some reason, I felt compelled to pull up a certain Bible verse. It's one of the most staggering statements Jesus ever made. And it goes like this: "I tell you the truth, anyone who has faith in me will do what I've been doing. He will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father." And that's in John 14:12. You know, I'd read that verse so many times, but I had a new context for it. And it sliced me with the edge of fresh challenge. Greater things than Jesus, the greatest man who ever lived? What does that even mean? How can we do greater things than Jesus? Does that mean that we're able to do more powerful miracles than Jesus, have a bigger impact than Jesus? I don't think so. After all, I don't know many people who have walked on water, multiplied fish and loaves to feed thousands, opened the eyes of the blind, or given salvation to the world. If you're looking to be greater than Jesus, put down your crack pipe, my friend, because that's not happening. But here's a way to look at it. By leaving and then sending his Spirit to dwell inside his followers, ordinary people like you and me, Jesus released a greater power for us to do extraordinary things on an extraordinary scale. the kinds of things the early church saw and did, the kinds of things he still wants to do today through us. Jesus isn't calling us to be greater than he is. He's calling us to be greater with him through his Spirit within us.